Affordable wind turbines. A global market analysis of the wind and solar industry. Feasibility of large 1 to 2 megawatt vertical axis wind turbines. Affordable wind turbines enters the large wind turbine marketplace, taking it by storm, due to the fact that vertical axis wind turbines are better than conventional, horizontal axis wind turbines. Affordable wind turbines enters the global market first as the sole provider of megawatt helical vertical axis wind turbines, and becomes a global market leader. We hope you enjoy this presentation. Here is a Department of Energy cost projection up to 2010. As you can see, energy costs will almost double in the next few years. U.S. small wind market grows 78% in 2008. Industry secures long-term federal incentive, the first since 1985. The U.S. market for small wind turbines, those with capacities of 100 kilowatts 1 and under, grew 78% in 2008 with an additional 17.3 megawatt of installed capacity. This growth is largely attributable to increased private equity investment that allowed manufacturing volumes to increase, particularly for the commercial segment of the market, systems 21 to 100 kilowatts. The still largest segment of the market, residential 1 to 10 kilowatts, was likewise driven by investment in manufacturing economies of scale, but also by rising residential electricity prices and a heightened public awareness of the technology and its attributes. The industry projects 30-fold growth within as little as 5 years, despite a global recession, for a cumulative U.S. installed capacity of 1,700 megawatts by the end of 2013. Much of this estimated growth will be spurred by the new 8-year 30% federal investment tax credit passed by Congress in October 2008 and augmented in February 2009. The market has become dominated by grid-connected units and will likely continue in this trend as these larger systems become more affordable. The U.S. continues to command roughly half the global market share and is home to 1/3 of the 219 identified worldwide manufacturers. Small wind is still in a race with the solar photovoltaic industry toward grid parity price per kilowatt-hour, on par with conventional forms of electricity, and now both industries enjoy nearly identical federal incentives for a more level playing field. Other statistics: 80 megawatts of cumulative installed small wind capacity in the U.S. U.S. manufacturers' sales account for the global market. $160 million in outside investment was injected into 18 manufacturers worldwide over the past 3 years. At least 219 companies worldwide manufacture small wind systems, 35% of which are based in the U.S. Industry predicts a cumulative U.S. capacity of 1,700 megawatts within 5 years. Association. Current market status. Based on a survey of leading manufacturers, 2008 growth was largely due to the availability of capital and inventory, and the evolution of manufacturing economies of scale. Private equity investment has allowed supply to catch up to a demand that has been consistently strong over recent years. Better manufacturer capitalization has led to an increase in production volumes, sales forces, and technical support within individual companies. Leading external market factors include rising and volatile prices of conventional electricity, state incentives, consumer education, and an increased public concern for environmental issues. Despite record growth, the residential 1 to 10 kilowatts and commercial 21 to 100 kilowatts market segments showed an approximate 5% downturn in late 2008 and early 2009 due to a broad economic recession, but also because of typical sales drop-offs during winter months. Despite the dip, early 2009 residential sales were still 15 to 20% higher than in early 2008. Commercial sector customers have found difficulty securing financing for the typically more expensive turbines in this market, and have found power purchase agreements (PPA) to be a more attractive financing method. Commercial PPAs enable businesses, schools, governments, and utilities to consume renewable electricity while avoiding high capital costs and risks associated with owning the generating equipment. The PPA model has been very popular for the solar photovoltaic (PV) industry in recent years, primarily because the federal investment tax credit created in the 2005 Energy Policy Act provided a far more generous incentive, 30% of the total installed system cost for commercial applications than for residential, which was limited to $2,000. Small wind and solar now enjoy a long-term, uncapped 30% tax credit for both commercial and residential applications. PPAs will likely become more popular in 2009 and 2010 as the expanded incentive takes effect and credit remains restricted throughout the economy. Growth potential and projections. Manufacturers predict a 30-fold increase in the U.S. market in as little as 5 years, even under current economic conditions. Primary drivers include the 8-year 30% federal investment tax credit enacted in October 2008, recent and potential private equity investment, and greater equipment manufacturing capabilities. This growth projection is much greater than the 40 to 50% annual growth predicted in the 2008 study, and is far beyond the average annual growth of 14 to 25% year-over-year growth the industry has seen over the past decade. This legislation marked the first federal incentive for the small wind industry in over 20 years and provides the industry with stable, long-term policy that has historically been out of reach for other renewables industries. Industry members value its passage as an important step toward achieving political parity with solar photovoltaics (PV) industry, small wind's market counterpart, which has enjoyed a federal ITC since 2005. Since the federal incentive was not enacted until the end of 2008, and not expanded until early 2009, it is unlikely that it was a primary driver behind the 2008 surge in sales. Rising electricity prices. Residential electricity prices are projected to rise at annual rates of about 10.1% in 2009 and 19.8% in 2010 and will likely contribute to a boost in small wind sales. 7% higher prevailing rates for residential, industrial, and commercial electricity makes small wind turbines more competitive with conventional electricity sources on an incremental cost basis.